Just a few days back, I was having a conversation with a certain client who was looking for a locally used affordable car with a bit of performance. He wanted something a bit unique, and among the vehicles that I had in mind was the Mercedes-Benz W202. But the client was very categorical that it had to be a Japanese car. So straight away, the first car that came to my mind was the Toyota Verossa, because going by what he wanted, this car ticked almost all the boxes from performance, value for money, uniqueness, etc. But to my surprise, the response was a big no, and the main reason was that he thought the spare parts will be a bit of a pain to get because this car is a bit rare. It's only after I told him that this car is essentially a Mark II X110 that he settled for the car. In fact, think of it this way. It's like comparing a Premium to an Allion. Underneath, they are exactly the same. It's only the body parts that are slightly different. Same case applies to the Verossa and Mark II. They are exactly the same underneath, same engines, transmissions, and suspension components. It's only their bodies that are slightly different. So if you're in the market for a Mark II, before you put your money down for it, hold on for a moment. Maybe you may change your mind and consider the Verossa, especially if you want something that looks a bit more unique but is exactly the same as the Mark II in terms of maintenance, which means you'll not struggle to source for the spare parts. So please stay tuned for that, and as always, if you find this content helpful, please do consider subscribing to the channel for more informative content on cars as well as bikes. Welcome to IK Photo Reviews. So unfortunately, the Verossa was produced for a very short time between 2001 till 2004, after which it was discontinued due to low sales. And by the way, this is the car that replaced both the Toyota Chaser and Cresta in the year 2000. And surprisingly, the Verossa, being the replacement of those two cars, was still underpinned by the same chassis. So even though it was a newer car, some parts were still very interchangeable, like the suspension components. Now, this car came with 3 engine options, which are the same as the ones in the Mark II X110 and even the X100. The base engine was the 1GFE 2000cc inline 6-cylinder that produced 160 horsepower. The second one was the 2500cc 6-cylinder coded the 1JZ FSE that produced 197 horsepower. And lastly, there was the much celebrated 1JZ GTE inline 6-cylinder with a turbo, which churned out a healthy 276 horsepower. These engines were and are still very solid, tough, durable, and extremely reliable. They are not engines that die easily, and no wonder you see quite a good number of Mark IIs on the road even today. Yes, they are not the best in terms of fuel consumption, but in terms of performance and build quality, they are among the very best. Now, that said, the only few issues to watch out for are maybe something like the water pump failure or oil consumption due to worn out piston rings, and generally these are issues that may crop up due to age and high mileage, but once they are sorted out, you will have many more years of stress-free driving. How the car has been maintained by the previous owner is also very important. In fact, if you can get one that has been maintained well over the years, then without a second thought, go for it, because a time is coming when getting such cars in good condition may be quite difficult. Something else that you'll notice about this car is the space under the hood. This means you can do some serious modifications on this car. You could install a turbo and even cold air intakes easily and still have some space to work on the engine if anything goes wrong. As for the transmission options, they were also 3. A 5-speed manual, which was exclusive to the turbo option, though you could also get it in a 4-speed automatic. The 2000cc came exclusively paired to the 4-speed automatic. Then lastly, there was also a 5-speed automatic, which mostly came with the 2500cc non-turbo. Again, these transmissions are very solid. Just change the ATF at the required intervals and you may never have any major problems for hundreds of thousands of kilometers. Now, as I said earlier, these engines are not your best bet in terms of efficiency. For one, they are relatively big 6-cylinder engines. Secondly, they are old engines. And thirdly, their high mileages and how well they have been maintained over the years also plays a key role in how efficient they can be. So on the 2000cc, expect around 12 kilometers per liter if you drive decently. Then on the 2500cc, expect around 10 kilometers per liter or slightly less. And lastly, the more powerful 2.5 turbo can return figures of between 7 to around 10ish kilometers per liter. So it may dent your pocket, but it will definitely put a smile on your face. And by the way, this 1JZ GTE is not easy to get locally here in Kenya. You will mostly get either the 2000cc or 2500cc non-turbo. The fuel tank in this car is 70 liters. Then as for the suspension setup, it's identical to that of the Mark II. Double wishbone setup at both the front and back. So if you want to get spare parts for the Verossa, just go looking for the Mark II's spares, because underneath these cars are identical. And still on the suspension setup, this car handles quite well, just like the Mark II, very comfortable and sure-footed. As for stopping power, it gets discs at both the front and back, with the front ones being ventilated. The carb weight of this car ranges between 1380 to around 1530 kgs. Models with the 2000cc are lighter and hence more efficient, while models with the 2500cc with all-wheel drive are heavier. And I forgot to mention that this car is primarily a rear-wheel drive, though there are variants that are available with all-wheel drive. Now, what about the price? Depending on the mileage, engine option and general condition, this car will set you back anywhere between 350,000 to around 500,000 shillings for a good one that is still in good condition. It's actually a good price considering the performance, features and space. And speaking of space, it's decently spacious to accommodate around 5 adults plus some luggage. The dashboard design is somewhat simplistic, but in a good way. It's in fact almost similar to that of the Mark II, but there are two key differences. The first one is that its handbrake is at the conventional place at the center console, while that of the Mark II is foot operated. Then the second key difference is that the AC vents are roundish in shape, almost oval shaped. But aside from those two, the layout and everything else is quite similar to that of the Mark II. In terms of the exterior, this car was very much differentiated from the Mark II. I would say it looks a bit more sporty than the Mark II, which exhibits a bit of elegant and a mature look. Personally, I would go with this Verossa. Those roundish headlights and uniquely designed grille make it look unlike any other Toyota. At the back, the sporty vibe continues, and it's accentuated by that muscle-like line that moves from the rear doors to the back. So generally, design is subjective, but I reckon this Verossa looks okay. Not necessarily striking, but unique. More unique compared to the Mark II. So what are the strong points of this car? It's extremely reliable, it handles quite well and offers good value for money. In fact, there are variants with electric seats, sunroof and much more. On to the cons, which are very few. The first one is low fuel consumption, but as I had said earlier, that is to be expected considering that they are large engines with high mileage. Secondly, the body parts may be a bit of a challenge to get. Yes, you can get them, but with a bit of looking around. But even in the event you don't get a specific part, you can easily import from our neighboring countries like Uganda or Tanzania, because this car is quite common in those countries. The third con again has to do with the fact that these engines now have high mileage, so issues such as oil consumption and water pump issues may crop up, but generally if you can get a well-maintained low mileage example, then you will be good to go. This is a car that will reward you with a very good and stress-free ownership experience for years and years. So there you have it. Should you get the Verossa or Mark II if you are in the market for a locally used, affordable mid-size saloon? Both are good cars, but the Verossa is a unique offering, and for those who want something that looks a bit more different and sporty compared to the Mark II, do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, if you have any inquiries, feel free to reach me via WhatsApp or email. That's it for today's episode. Stay safe, ride and drive safe, and see you in the next one. But before you go, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button.